The wine hit my face like a slap, red and cold, searing between my eyes as if I were a stain Alina couldn't erase from her life. It dripped down my cheeks, sharp with the tang of Merlot, as the restaurant fell silent, every gaze pinned to our table. The waiter froze mid-step, a tray wobbling in his hands. Her mother, fork poised over her plate, let out a laugh, harsh, theatrical, as if she'd seen this act before. "Pay the bill," Alina hissed, her voice a venom-tipped arrow, "or this ends here." I blinked through the sting, swiping my eyes with a napkin's edge, and met her gaze, truly met it. Then, slowly, I smiled, a quiet promise she couldn't yet read. 3 years ago, I married Alina, a woman whose wit could charm serpents and whose elegance made you feel like the dangerous one. I was a software architect, my world built on code and calculation, content to linger in the shadows while she blazed like a star. Her mother despised me from the start. At our engagement dinner, she'd leaned close, her perfume sharp, and whispered, "You lack presence. You're a filing cabinet in a suit." Maybe so, but a filing cabinet guards its secrets well. Our marriage frayed like a rope worn thin, its unraveling subtle but relentless. At a candlelit dinner in Paris, Alina's laughter sparkled for the guests, but her eyes slid past me, cold as the champagne I'd paid for. On a Caribbean trip in early 2024, I covered every expense, villas, sunset cruises, yet stood alone on the balcony, her voice a distant hum, laced with secrets. Bank statements began to betray her, charges for boutiques and spas I'd never seen. "It's just a spa," she'd murmur, her smile a fragile mask, a little retail therapy. Each lie tightened the coil of dread in my gut. Then, 2 months ago, I found the second phone, buried in her closet behind a forgotten handbag, unlocked, arrogant. Messages to a man named Jay, laced with plans, keep him long enough to sell the condo. Play nice at dinner. Just a few months more. Photos of them together. Bookings for trips I hadn't taken. A cryptic note about Jay's other commitments. It wasn't just betrayal, it was a calculated heist, gutting me while I funded her future. I didn't confront her. Instead, I moved like a shadow, sharpening my plans behind a curtain of feigned ignorance. Over 8 weeks, I changed the passwords to our joint accounts. She called it a glitch, and I played dumb. I pulled the condo, legally mine, a pre-marriage gift, from the market, knowing she'd never read the deeds. My savings flowed into a trust, untouchable, a fortress beyond her reach. I gathered evidence, screenshots, receipts, her GPS trails mapping secret rendezvous. A private investigator uncovered Jay's full name and habits, including hints of a life he hid from Alina. The prenup, which she'd signed with a laugh 3 years ago, became my shield, her mother's insistence, meant to protect her, now my salvation. The dinner was her mother's idea, a lavish affair at an uptown restaurant in May 2025, to celebrate. Celebrate what? I asked, suspicion curling like smoke. "You'll see," Alina replied, her smirk a warning. She arrived in red, her power color, her war paint, striding in like a general. Lobster, steak, bottles of wine flowed as if money were air, their laughter weaving a net that excluded me. I was just the wallet at their table. The bill arrived, $970 plus gratuity. I set my fork down, my gaze locking with Alina's. "I'm not paying," I said, my voice steady as stone. She blinked, her mother scoffed, "Don't be ridiculous." Alina leaned in, her words a poison dart, "Pay the bill, or this ends here." I waited, one heartbeat, two. The wine struck my face, the crowd gasped, her mother's laugh crowed, "Good girl." I rose slowly, my heart a steady drumbeat, and drew a folded envelope from my jacket, placing it on the table with the weight of a guillotine. "What is that?" Alina spat, her voice fraying at the edges. "Everything," I said, my tone a low, deliberate blade. The dossier inside held her undoing, photographs of her and Jay, tangled in their secret world, emails plotting my ruin, financial records tracing her theft, a divorce notice, her signature, mimicked from old contracts, staring back like a ghost of her own hand. She flipped through the pages, her face ashen, her confidence crumbling like sand. "What is this?" she whispered. "This," I said, "is me paying the bill." The manager approached, wary after the wine's assault. I handed him my card. "Split the bill 3 ways. She can afford her share. Ask her about the offshore account in Belize." Her mother's jaw dropped, shock etching her face. "Oh, you didn't know?" I said. "She used your name to open it. Identity fraud's a serious charge." Alina's lips trembled. "You can't prove that." "I don't have to," I replied. "I just have to report it. You'll both explain yourselves, separately." I walked out, the restaurant's murmurs fading behind me. My phone buzzed with dozens of her calls, each unanswered, sinking into silence. Her mother threatened lawyers until my attorney sent a folder exposing her tax evasion, tied to Alina's fraudulent account, a scandal she couldn't risk in court. The condo sold quietly, its proceeds mine. The accounts were frozen, investigated, her web of lies unraveling. Jay, it turned out, was married, his other commitments, a wife who devoured the dossier I sent anonymously. Alina lost everything, her status, her wealth, the reputation she'd polished like glass. All I lost was an illusion. They say revenge is best served cold, but mine was a silent symphony, no shouts, no chaos, just a bill, a wine-stained napkin, and the truth laid bare. Yet as I stood in my new apartment, the city's hum seeping through the window, victory tasted bittersweet. I traced the ghost of Alina's laugh from our first date, the off-key hum of her morning showers, memories that stung like salt in a wound. Revenge was an art, and mine left no loose ends, but it couldn't erase the ache of a love I'd believed in. Still, I was free, free from a lie that had bound me, free to rebuild on the ruins of a dream. In the quiet, I found a peace she could never touch, a strength tempered in the fire of her deceit. The world turned on, and I moved with it, carrying the lessons of a life undone and the promise of one yet to come.